all income brackets now living paycheck to paycheck. A study shows we're not talking like just minimum wage. This article is talking about all income brackets now living paycheck to paycheck. Study done by Lending Club Bank finds that inflation, mortgage rates over 7%, credit card APR above 20% have led all income brackets to live paycheck to paycheck. In July 2023, 61% of U.S. consumers live paycheck to paycheck, up 2%, 2 percentage points from July 2022. The shares of low-income consumers living this way rose from 74% in July of 2022 to 78%. Among those earning $50,000 to $100,000 annually, 65% live paycheck to paycheck. In July, up from 63%. High-income consumers earning more than $100,000 annually saw a small increase, rising from 43% to 44%. Study reveals that regardless of income, Americans need their next paycheck to cover monthly expenses due to rising consumer goods, good costs, and living expenses. Higher interest rates have increased credit debt. To break the cycle, downsizing housing, negotiating bills, automating savings, and using high-yield savings accounts are recommended. Let me read that last part again. To break the cycle, downsizing housing, negotiating bills, automating savings, and using high-yield savings accounts are recommended. If this is reading correctly, Tom, this would validate that eventually if people run out of savings and they're tapping into their credit cards, we're about to see this. Now, obviously, the average person looks at the market and says, what? What are you guys talking about? There's nothing going on. Market's doing good. Market's doing great. Bidenomics is crushing it. You know, maybe better than Reaganomics, any of that stuff. What would you say to those people?
I would say the S&P 500 and the stock market index has got nothing to do with helping middle-class America pay their bills. And what you're seeing here, we've been talking about it, the middle class is getting crushed. And you look at the lower part of the middle class there, now 78%, almost 80% of that lower band is living paycheck to paycheck. And almost 2/3 of the next band are living paycheck to paycheck. We've been talking about it. The middle class is getting crushed. Commodities like eggs and gasoline have come down. Everything else has stayed up. These people are using credit cards to do it. And suddenly we've got like the statement you just read. Hey, if you need to break the cycle, downsize housing. Sell your current house to who? No one's buying. The interest rates are too high for the next person.
That's the point.
Negotiate your bills. Negotiate with who? The credit cards are getting maxed out. Automate your savings. How can you save when you're using the credit card to make up for the inflation pinch on your common expenses? And use high yield savings account. Well, that's nice. You've got nothing to save. How do you put it in there? The middle class is getting crushed, and the inflation effect on those two bands has been cataclysmic.
And well, mind you guys, Pat, you guys have, done pretty well for yourselves. I'm in that between 50 to 100,000, and I'm feeling it and seeing it from every single thing. Pat, just going to the Publix, just going to the local supermarket now. I've never in my life looked at prices, Tom, on the shelf and out loud been like, are you serious? And other people in the aisles are like, teaming up going, I'm starting random conversations with people.
And they're not coming down.
And they're not.
Eggs did, but
everything else, Tom, is not. And it's like, you guys, because I think it was live on this podcast, Adam, where the White House, remember the recession, the 2 quarters of negative growth? Well, they live changed the definition. It's like, at what point do we admit it's messed up and just come out and say, like, Tom, we're living in it right now, and how much is it going to affect the election? Because, I mean, that's the average American, and that's me, and I'm feeling it.
I'll give you this. You know how Tom gave 3 different things? I'm going to give you 2 different things because you always highlight that the PBD podcast is different from the Sozcast audience. So I'll give 2 different messages over here. So some to the younger single dudes out there, and then those to the families out there, because those are different categories. Because I don't want to get ripped a new one from PBD when I tell people you can just Uber rather than having a car payment for $1,000.
Folks, brace for impact.
Here we go.
Yeah.
So
let them eat cake, says Adam.
For if you're young and you don't have a family and you're just a young hustler guy or girl out there, the key to life in America these days is having low overhead and high flexibility. Keep your costs low and your flexibility high. You don't know what the hell's around the corner. Andy Grove once said, only the paranoid survive. Whether Kevin O'Leary is right or wrong, or Michael Burry or Warren Buffett who thinks the economy is strong, no one knows. What you can do to control your own pocketbook and your own financial security is keep your head on a swivel, see what's going on, and that also just stay the course as far as your financial situation. What I would also say is those that have families, those that can't necessarily have that high level of flexibility and the low overhead, because you are maybe fixed in on a house, you can't sell it. You can downsize on cars. That's not what I'm recommending specifically. But there is something going on in America today. And it's very interesting because, Andrew Tate highlighted it when we spoke with him. It's this sense of rugged individualism that America is founded on, being an individual, but also juxtaposed with a sense of family. If you remember, Tate told that story about the 7 Muslim brothers that all lived in the same house.
Yep.
And they pooled their resources, and they all lived together, and they worked together, and they were all driving fancy cars and doing fancy things because they didn't have 7 different rents to pay. So for those people out there, I do understand why you want to be an individual.
So you're saying take 3 families and live together in a house?
I'm just saying there is a lack of the whether you call it the nuclear family or the familial unit. Like, I know that you want to buy 3 different lots of your properties right next to you and have your dad there, your sister there, your family there, and all that. You also very highlight the Asian family in your community. I am saying that if you do have kids and you do have family, they don't need to necessarily rush to get their own apartment and move out to college and pay rent over here. And have a car over here.
Don't kick your kids out.
I'm just saying that the family unit is the strongest thing we have in America. And
very interesting.
But we have this sense of like, oh, you're 18, get the hell out of the house. I would recommend that young people who are 18 stay in the house, save rent, lower bills, keep the family unit.
Did you talk to Tico and Dylan? Is this what's prompting?
Yeah, they're going to be there till they're 30. There it is.
Yeah,
but they can have girls over, but the doors must remain open. I'm sorry, Pat.
Yeah,
it's the way it works, especially Santa, homie.
Yeah,
it's not happening.
Brother.
No one goes on the second floor. Go ahead.
No, but Pat, like, think about it, Adam. In my 40s, single, but whatever. Like, when I'm telling you, it's feeling it right. And mind you, I don't spend money on crazy stuff. I have a freaking Toyota Corolla, Pat. But the gas, the rent, it's getting insane. Like, I've been looking at the numbers. It's getting really bad.
I'll add one more thing. Everyone's like, oh my God, what, 63% paycheck to paycheck? What's the exact number? 65%? By the way, it was the same thing 10 years ago. When I started doing financial content, two out of 3 people are living paycheck to paycheck. That was under Obama. That was under Trump. Welcome to America. This is nothing new. Yes, inflation's higher. Wages have gone up a little bit. This is America. People are overspending. They're not saving. For the last 10 years since I've been doing financial content, 50% of Americans own investments, own stocks. It has not changed. So your habits need to change because America's not changing.
It's an evergreen message that is continuous to be given, and it's very necessary to be given. I'm glad you're making that adjustment. So I think if I want to unpack what I took away from what you said.
Yes, sir.
Parents, 3 families combine and live together. Consider the religion of Muslim. Is kind of like where you were going with that.
Breaking news. I'm converting to Islam. A Jew is converting to Islam
That's the feeling
just to save that money. That's it. That's what I'm willing to do, guys.
Can I take the last word real quick?
Go for it,
to the
please.
next one. 10 years ago, what was the population of America? What's the population of America now? When the government steps in to bridge this and give people relief checks, it's a bigger check for our grandchildren. And I'm just going to leave it right there.
Boom.
Because the population and the number of people that are in these things is tens of millions greater. So it is a bigger problem when you get a socialist president that says we're going to print money, bail you out, and pass it down to the grandchildren.
So if you like this clip and you want to watch another one, click right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click right here.